What is the most fucked up thing that happened in a children's TV show? Too many episodes of Hey Arnold. Like finding out Stoop Kid stayed on his stoop because he was abandoned there and was homeless but hopelessly waiting for someone to come back for him. How Monkey Man was mentally ill and also homeless. That one where you learn Grandpa and his sister had a lifelong rift because the only good thing in their life as children, their puppy, got killed by a car in front of them and they each blame the other. How Lyle and her dad are squatters to keep from being homeless. How the kids on the show routinely get mugged. Or how Mr. Yoon hates Christmas because that's the anniversary of the day he handed his baby daughter off to an American soldier to get her out of the war zone because he wasn't sure they'd survive, then spent the rest of his life working to immigrate to America to try and find her, only having the name of the city to work from, and ended up missing her whole childhood because he was too poor to hire a private investigator. Until Helga literally sold the shoes off her feet to hire one to make Arnold happy. Oh, and how Helga is obsessed with Arnold because she grew up neglected by an alcoholic mother and aggressive narcissistic father who only cared about her older sister, and Arnold was literally the first person in her entire life to show her any kindness when, as a preschooler, he offered to share his umbrella because her parents forgot to take her to her first day of preschool and she had to walk in the rain, by herself, with no coat, as a 4-year-old in what we can only assume is New York City. So yeah, that show was supremely jacked up. Remember when SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs murdered and buried the health inspector? Either the series finale of Alf, in which Alf is captured by the government presumably to be experimented on, or the series finale of Dinosaurs, in which the entire civilization is destroyed. There's this Hey Arnold episode called The Ghost Bride, and the story is basically that this lady was madly in love with her fiancé but was stood up at the altar because he had fallen in love with her sister and married her the very next day. So the lady goes berserk and puts on her wedding dress, gets an axe from her basement, walks to the newlywed couple's home, kills them both in their beds, and when the cops come, she's rocking back and forth in a rocking chair next to the bodies, throwing rice on them and humming the wedding march. To finish it all off, she immediately jumps out of the window and kills herself. Henry the Tank Engine was bricked up inside an abandoned tunnel for having anxiety while Ringo Starr mocked him. There was an episode of SpongeBob where Squidward got brain damage and thought he was a baby. Then the rest of the episode is just SpongeBob and Patrick throwing him about and shit. New SpongeBob is just plain sadistic at times. What is a good starter video game for a middle-aged man who has never really played before? I wanted to be more specific, but apparently that broke the submission rules and was removed. We have no console, so online games are downloads only. Bonus if it is a game my wife and 15-year-old stepdaughter can play together. Edit, JFC, I posted this then got caught up in work. I have a lot of reading to do, how am I supposed to ever get to the actual games? Thank you all for the feedback and suggestions. Edit 2, I am hearing on here that my computer video card might affect my ability to play video games. I have a Dell XPS 13, Core i7, 2018, that apparently has 128 megabytes dedicated Intel UHD graphics 620. No idea if that card is good enough or if I need to consider upgrading. Edit 3, Gold? 13k upvotes? For my little question that I hoped might get a couple of serious replies? I am blushing. How do I see who gifted it? What do I do with it? Also, RIP inbox never had to say that before. What are some underrated things to do right before sleep? Think about what you want to dream about. Copious amounts of chapstick. Put lotion on your feet. I always make sure I have a full glass of water beside my bed. I rarely drink it, though I feel weird not having it. Stretch and do positive affirmations. Shower. People who shower in the morning rather than before bed really miss out. I listen to old radio shows to stop my mind. What are the spookiest audio or video clips on the internet? I'm not even a very religious person, but the audio from The Exorcism of Annalise Michel chills me to the bone. You can find it on YouTube. That one police chase where the car goes through a fence and disappears. The 911 calls. There's two disturbing, one from the towers where people die on the phone, one where an Asian woman suffocates and becomes engulfed by flames, and another where the building collapses on a man. Also, in the 1970s, a park guest recorded audio of a Disney employee being crushed to death. I remember one audio of a woman screaming while a chimpanzee was eating her face, or something like that. I heard it a long time ago, so I don't remember the details. Her friend was on the phone begging for help and the call was recorded. I don't remember the audio itself, but I do remember I felt terrible after hearing it. The Caretaker is an album and is legitimately one of the only things on the internet to actually scare me. DOMs of Reddit, how does it make you feel when a website or app orders you to press a submit button? Angry and horny. I showed this to my Dom and he said by clicking a submit button he's actually commanding the website to do whatever action he's trying for, so it makes him feel good. Smiley face. I just grip my mouse or phone harder and command it to do as I please. After I choke it a little, as a treat, it's honestly a refreshing change. Thanks for asking. As a switch I use solely submit but act like a brat when doing so. This post is where I'll find my husband ... in quote, here sir in quote, whistles. People of Reddit, what is the best flavor of ice cream? I love many ice creams, but when in doubt, cookies and cream. Ben & Jerry's in quote, half-baked in quote. It's chocolate vanilla with cookie dough and brownie. Hard to scoop with a spoon but so worth it. Vanilla. Real vanilla. I can't believe only one person has said this yet. Cookie dough. Cookies and creme. What keeps you awake at night? Reddit. My own brain. It won't shut the hell up. That awkward thing I did or said 10+ years ago. If you were told that today is your last day, what would your final words be? I lived as I died unwillingly. Alexa, delete my search history. Finally. Takes out Uno card and quote, no you exclamation mark and quote. I'd apologize to my cat because I had long ago promised I'd never leave her. This has been the only thing that kept me from killing myself a few times before I met my husband. Tell my husband how much I love him, and then probably pray silently until I passed. I lived through half the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. I got free education, free healthcare. I got to experience more entertainment, food, and luxuries than most of humanity can ever hope to. It's been a good ride. With that said, I'd like to tell you all to go fuck yourselves. I'm a head out. I have ripped and teared and now it is done. Replacing their name with in quote, a drunk guy / girl at the bar in quote, what's the craziest thing your pet has ever done? B? A drunk guy at a bar ate a bunch of crayons and was shitting rainbow-colored crap on the floor. A drunk guy at the bar brought in a live, baby rabbit into the house at 5 a.m., which ran around the house until it settled under the couch. A drunk guy at the bar climbed into my pants while I was peeing and meowed at me. A drunk guy stayed out all night, then showed up the next morning with some little drunk girl who he then proceeded to move into our house. She's still there, over 10 years later. A drunk guy at the bar took a fat shit on the sink drain. A drunk girl at the bar fell down the stairs, shit on the floor, ran back up the stairs, then fell back down the stairs into their own shit. What was your school's incident? Someone put a picture of Obama in the boys' bathroom light. So whenever you went inside, Obama was staring down at you. The whole school was an incident. My school was shut down after being around 4 years. A few kids were there the entire duration. I was there the last 2. A girl set the toilets on fire trying to burn her coursework. The school claimed it was an electrical fault, but then when someone asked why the fire service had used water to put it out, the head teacher shut up pretty quick. Also, they left a kid in London on a school trip. School is Northeast England. Also, a physics teacher got fired in front of us. Deputy head physically pulled her lanyard off and screamed at her. Same teacher had previously had a friend of mine throw peanuts at her. My friend didn't know, but she was allergic. A teacher got fired for showing porn to students. Last year, product design had 19 different teachers throughout the year, as they kept getting punched or harassed. We were blacklisted from at least one supply agency and the rest started sending them in pairs cause they couldn't control classes on their own. The school was in the news for a while in the last year. Headlines like "Unquat, rock bottom Unquat," and "Unquat, predatory students roam the halls Unquat." Both are quotes from the Ofsted reports. Which was quite funny, actually. The section for bad points had 12 bullet points, each long explanations of faults. The section for good points had a single bullet point, a single sentence, starting with the words "Unquat, on occasion Unquat." My freshman year, there was a giant Unquat, riot Unquat, during breakfast, really more of a food fight, but chairs were thrown too. At first rumors were flying that a star football player, who was over 6 feet 6 inches Unquat, and at least 280, had been involved. It turned out he had just walked around the cafeteria while everyone else was fighting and ate the food that they had left behind on their trays. It's a tie between a shooting and a student that was killed on the property. We had an actual food fight in 8th grade. It was absolutely incredible. The best part was the IT teacher, who was extremely quiet but also an Elvis impersonator and dressed the part every day, came running in the cafeteria banging pots and pans to stop it. Teacher in the middle of class gets a call, his whole family, wife, 2 daughters, and dog, all killed in a freak car accident. He returned a year later to teach but he was never the same, you could see it in his eyes. Heartbreaking. Went back to the school years later and he was still there, same great guy. Anyway, hope you're doing well, teacher man. Well, some girl got her pussy eaten by her fat boyfriend on a staircase, they got caught, everyone found out, and the joke was that was the reason the boyfriend had bad breath all this time. Since it was Catholic school, I guess it gave the situation extra